Welcome to our webinar about Piano Safari Friends, a brand new book for our youngest piano students. We're so thankful that you took the time today to join us. I'm Catherine Fisher, one of the co-authors of the Piano Safari Method. My family lives in Athens, Ohio, and my husband Christopher and I teach at Ohio University. We have two children that you may have seen featured in some Piano Safari videos throughout the years. I also teach a small studio of pre-college students.
And I'm Julie Nurhaig. I live in Connecticut and teach students of all ages, with my work as the other co-author of Piano Safari. We are very excited about the launch of our new Piano Safari Friends book, and we hope you enjoy learning about it today in our webinar.
Piano Safari was created when Julie and I met at the University of Oklahoma while working on our graduate degrees. We quickly discovered that we had a mutual dream of writing a piano method. We began sketching out our ideas, and Piano Safari was born. We now self-publish an array of pedagogical materials and continue to create new materials to enhance piano teaching. During our webinar today, we'll explore the pedagogical foundations of our newest book, Piano Safari Friends. Piano Safari Friends is intended to prepare students ages 4 to 6 for Piano Safari Level 1. Its aim is to provide rich and enjoyable musical experiences at the piano through imitating, improvising, singing, moving, and learning the fundamentals of rhythmic notation and pre-staff reading. The book has a unit-based design. Each unit is centered around a letter of the music alphabet. Although it is possible to proceed through the book in order, the teacher may also present the pieces and activities in any order within the unit to keep a well-balanced assignment that's tailored to the individual student. We expect that it will take the average student a year to complete the book, but students who begin at age 4 may take a bit longer.
The Piano Safari Friends student pack consists of the following. The core book contains repertoire, technique, songs, and activities. There is a corresponding sticker book, audio tracks for listening at home and in the lesson, a PDF of the alphabet leaves for 2 game activities found in the book, and a PDF version of the piano decorating kit if you would like to print and make your own. If you prefer to purchase the ready-made version, we will have one available, but it is currently still in production. The materials in the student pack provide everything that is essential, but you may also opt to add the Piano Safari Friends piece cards or the MP3 or MIDI accompaniment tracks. We also have a detailed teacher guide, which is available as a free PDF download on our website. However, if you prefer a print version, there is an option for a teacher pack, which includes the print version of the teacher guide and the Piano Safari Friends book. Or for additional teaching aids, you may opt to purchase the complete teacher resource pack, which includes the Piano Safari Friends book and teacher guide, the music alphabet cards, and the animal rhythm patterns. We will talk in more detail about how these products are used throughout the rest of the webinar.
Piano Safari Friends contains several different types of pieces and activities. This is a general overview, but be assured we'll cover these more in depth as we progress through the webinar today. So first, follow the leader pieces are a unique component of this book. In this type of piece, the teacher plays a short phrase and the student copies immediately afterwards. These pieces provide even the very youngest student an immediate way to create music at the piano. Students learn rote pieces by imitating the teacher and memorizing the patterns. Improvisation pieces provide a fun and engaging way for students to create their own music and explore different sounds on the piano. Technique exercises provide a gentle introduction to sitting correctly at the piano, the basics of proper hand position, and they provide easier versions of several of the animal techniques that you are familiar with from Piano Safari Level 1. Students are introduced to the animal rhythm patterns in this book by listening and clapping back. Once these are solidly established, students learn to recognize the notation for each rhythm pattern. The pre-staff reading exercises are only 2 measures long and are based on the animal rhythm patterns. They are designed to acquaint students with pre-staff reading basics. Listening pages have suggested classical pieces that represent different moods. An animal illustration is included so students can color as they listen. Songs provide opportunity for students to sing and move to music. And finally, activities introduce new concepts and help students draw connections between musical ideas and things they are familiar with in the world around them.
Today, we're going to provide you with a Piano Safari Friends sampler, which features a few of the pieces near the beginning of the book. Catherine is going to drop this in the chat so you can download it. So the pieces in the sampler that you'll see are Wake Up Charlie, which is a follow the leader piece, Climbing Up in Breakfast Time, 2 rote pieces, and Chipmunk Blues, an improvisation piece. As you may have noticed, all of these have a chipmunk theme to introduce students to one of the main characters in the book, Charlie Chipmunk. We will cover these pieces in more depth as we progress through our webinar. The sampler also includes a PDF version of the piano decorating kit. As we mentioned before, we will have a ready-made version in the future available on our website also. Here's what the ready-made version looks like. Wake Up Charlie is a follow the leader piece using black keys and is from Unit 1. The teacher introduces the piece by playing it for the student or by turning on the audio track and listening together. Here is a bit of the audio track. The follow the leader concept is a new one designed with preschool-aged children in mind. The easiest way for young students to play a piece is to imitate a very short pattern. We have created pieces that have this imitation composed into the piece. The first teaching step is to play only the part the student is to echo. In this piece, for example, play the teacher right hand and ask the student to imitate in the same octave. We suggest also singing the lyrics. The next video shows a 4-year-old student introduction to this piece at her very first lesson. You go with your right hand. Oh my, good copying. Here is a video of the finished piece. Notice how even from the very beginning of piano lessons, the student is able to enjoy a musical experience and play with the accompaniment.
The animal rhythm patterns provide a strong rhythmic foundation and are covered in depth throughout Piano Safari Friends. You may be familiar with these animal rhythm patterns from our Theory Book 1, and we encourage students to use them in Level 1 also. I like to introduce these by having students echo on my big drums. So I'll be drumming them for you down here, even though you can't see it. So our animal rhythm patterns are Charlie Chipmunk, and we have roar, 2, 3, 4. Tall giraffe, hippo, Zachariah zebra, and kangaroo, kangaroo. So as I just mentioned, students learn these patterns by tapping back the rhythm after the teacher. It's important for students to experience rhythm before learning the notation. In the following video, you will see 2 students, ages 4 and 5, echoing with rhythm instruments. So I like to use those also. Before we show you the video, I'm using the animal rhythm pattern cards, and this is what they look like. We have a card with a rhythm notation and then a matching card with a picture of the animal. So you can use both or either. These are a supplement available on the Safari website.
Awesome. All giraffe. Very good. Hippo. Wow, vector by the zebra. Oh, that was it. Awesome. Yes, all right.
The Piano Safari Friends sticker book contains animal stickers that correspond with the animal rhythm patterns. On this page of the book, teachers assist students in identifying the rhythm orally and then placing the matching stickers. Next, the rote piece, Climbing Up, introduces the groups of 2 black keys. Before playing it, students decorate the piano with the zebra triangles included in the piano decorating kit. So they're decorating the groups of 2. And they trace the triangles on the activity page. So here's Julie decorating her piano with the triangles on the groups of 2. In this piece, students play an alternating left-hand, right-hand pattern that climbs up the piano from low to high. The lyrics for the student part are Charlie, Chipmunk, and then the teacher answers with climbing up the oak tree. So here's a video of a student playing this at her first lesson. Charlie, can you scamper down the tree? Yes. Before I talk about the next piece, I do see a question, what are the zebra triangles made of? So this is actually included as a PDF in that sampler we dropped in the chat, and it also comes with your book. So you can print it out really on maybe some heavy cardstock. You can glue it to something else if you're making it yourself. The one that we are producing, there's been a delay, but it'll be like puzzle-like pieces, as Julie's showing you. So, what did she have in her hand to do the glissando with? That was my stuffed chipmunk. So we put Charlie at the top of the piano because he's climbing up the oak tree, and then she used him to come back down to the bottom of the oak tree. Okay, so moving on to the next rote piece. It's called Breakfast Time. And this is a rote piece that introduces the 3 black keys. Before playing it, students decorate the piano with the giraffe rectangles included in the piano decorating kit, as you see here. And Julie's decorating her groups of 3. And then students also trace the rectangles on the activity page. In this piece, students play a pattern that moves from the highest group of 3 to the lowest group of 3. So it moves in the opposite direction than climbing up. The lyrics for the student part are time to eat, and the teacher answers with acorns are my breakfast treat. So here is a video of Breakfast Time. I did drop the sampler just back at what time in the chat? It was at 1:07 if you're looking for it in the chat. If you don't see that, I'll drop it again here in a moment. So we do have one more chipmunk themed piece called Chipmunk Blues. This is an improvisation, so only the teacher accompaniment part is printed. Page marking tabs are placed on the keys indicated in the picture, as Julie has there, so that students are able to easily find notes from the blues scale and just enjoy improvising at this point rather than memorizing exactly which notes to play. So here is a video of a student playing the improvisation. Ready, go.
shown you the pieces that are in your sampler, we will provide a quick overview of the rest of the book so you are able to gain a clear picture of our pedagogical approach. You have already seen the chipmunk pieces from Unit 1, and here are a few other highlights from that unit. First, we introduce finger numbers with stickers from the Piano Safari sticker book, and we also have a fun song to introduce the concept. Feel free to sing along and wiggle finger 1 as we play the first verse.
I can wiggle finger 1, finger 1. I can wiggle finger 1, finger 1. I can wiggle finger number 1. I can wiggle finger 1, finger 1.
Technique begins in the first unit with Leo Lion, one of the characters in the book, who introduces posture at the piano. After sitting with good posture is established, the first technical concept, dropping with arm weight, is introduced with a story.
So I'm going to read you the story here of Leo Lion with my stuffed Leo Lion. We like to use stuffed animals as props just to engage the students' imagination in both the technique and the stories that we include. So it's not a necessary requirement, but it's a very fun tool. So here's my Leo sleeping under the tree. Leo Lion is sleeping peacefully under a tree. It's a hot day, but the shade is comfortable and cool. Leo's mother tries to wake him up for lunch. She nudges Leo's paw, but he does not stir. She roars in Leo's ear, but Leo still does not open his eyes. She picks up Leo's heavy lion paw, and it falls loosely back to the ground. Leo really wants to keep on sleeping.
In the following video, you will see preparation steps for teaching this technique that student and teacher use before playing it on the piano. Can you lift up Leo's arm? And he's asleep, isn't he? How about his back paw? Look, arm. Let's get his arms on the other side. Is he still asleep over here? Oh yeah, how about the back one? Oh my, he's so asleep. Right by your side, and I'm gonna lift it up. Oh my, it's so asleep, that's great. Oh, how about your left arm, is it sleeping? Oh yeah, that's asleep. This concept is carried into Unit 2 when students actually play the lion paw technique. All the techniques demonstrated through the book are written in follow the leader style. The teacher demonstrates a correct lion paw drop, and the student imitates immediately after in the same octave. So I'll demonstrate this. The teacher and student are left hand. My right hand's playing the accompaniment. And then the student, and then the teacher, and the student.
The remaining units in the book each center around a note in the music alphabet. So the focus of Unit 2 is the letter C. As you see on this activity page, students learn letter C by coloring the letter and note on the page, drawing an animal that begins with C, and decorating the piano. In the PDF of the piano decorating kit, you'll find a blue C for every octave on the piano. Julie's C is upside down there, but there she goes labeling it. I know some of you are having trouble finding the sampler, and I'm not sure why that is. Some see it and some don't. So I just dropped this note in the chat. We will put it on our website on the Piano Safari Friends page so that you can download it later, or you can email us directly. I've dropped it in there a couple times, so must be a technical difficulty. So there's Julie decorating her piano with the C's. And after students would do this, they learn a rote piece that's played only on letter C. It uses a combination of animal rhythm patterns that makes it easy for students to remember. So as you see in the piece, we have hippo, tall giraffe, kangaroo, kangaroo, tall giraffe. In the teacher guide, we suggest adding interest to this letter C piece by letting the student choose modifications, such as changing the octave, changing the hand that plays, or the tempo. This not only helps students take ownership of the piece, but it adds many repetitions and lots of extra practice. One fun idea is to hide the 4 C's found in the music alphabet cards around the room. So this is from our supplement music alphabet cards. And if you purchase the teacher resource packet, this comes with it. So if you hide these around the room, the student finds one of the cards and plays the piece on the piano. And after they complete that, they run around the room, find another card, and play the piece again, this time in a different octave. So that way they're challenged to find C in 4 different locations in 4 different octaves. So here's a video.
The blue C, and look where she wants us to play it this time, way up in the high part. 1, 2, ready, go.
As you see, the student is still working on her hand shape, but this is something that she and Julie will continue to refine as they continue to progress through the book. At the bottom of that letter C page, there are animal rhythm patterns included for review as clapbacks. So students are still only tapping back the rhythm at this point orally because that rhythmic notation has not yet been introduced, but some of it will be soon. So moving on here, students learn about correct piano hand shape by comparing the hand to a bunny house. The bunny, which can be any small object, in this case I'm going to use my little blue fuzzy that we made, sits on the student's relaxed shoulder and then hops down the student's arm and over the tall bridge of the hand. So then it enters the bunny house between fingers 1 and 2. So we suggest some steps there to do that with the student using any small object. And here is Julie with her student completing this exercise.
Bring them up into a nice bunny house. Look at those great bunny houses. I wonder which house the bunny's going to choose first. Let's see, is he gonna, oh, I think he wants to be on the left hand. He goes down your arm and over your curved fingers, and he can get into his house there. Good. Okay, now it's right hand's turn. Down your shoulder and over your bridge and down your fingers. Oh, and in his bunny house. Great. Color Shine is the first time students play with an open hand and with more than 1 finger. In this Follow the Leader piece, students play fingers 2 and 3. In the pieces before this, they were playing only with finger 2 with kind of a loose fist is what we recommend. In the next video, notice that the student is working on her bunny house and playing with non-legato articulation. Students should play all the pieces and exercises in Piano Safari Friends non-legato, as this is the best way to form the piano hand and keep the arm involved in tone production. Follow the Leader pieces are used primarily in the lesson or with a parent playing the accompaniment pieces at home, but we have created videos in case the student would like to practice at home. So here is an example of a Follow the Leader video for Color Shine. The student, with the help of the parent, can watch my hand and then copy each phrase right after me. is a follow the leader piece for the left hand. Like Colors Shine, the main goal is to open the hand and use fingers 2 and 3. One thing about the follow the leader pieces is after the students get used to copying in the same octave as the teacher, we challenge them to play their part up or down an octave depending on the hand. So I'll demonstrate that here. So the left hand is the student part. So teacher, student, teacher, student. In the follow the leader pieces, the student only had to remember a very short pattern and immediately copy the teacher. Playground Fun is the first rote piece that uses a longer set of patterns put together into a piece. So you can teach this piece phrase by phrase by counting the number of notes in the pattern, since preschool kids love to count things. For instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 patterns of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then stepping down to C. Another option is to highlight the animal rhythm patterns found in this piece. For example, we have Charlie, Chipmunk, roar, 2, 3, 4. Charlie, Chipmunk, roar, 2, 3, 4. Tall giraffe, Charlie, Chipmunk, roar. In this video, you'll see how the stuffed lion helps show the length of the whole note.
I just wanted to mention I'm seeing such great questions in the chat, so we definitely want to address those at the end. You can save it and type it again or put it right in the Q&A because we'll be able to find it easier at the end here. So moving on, up to this point in the book, the student has only echoed the animal rhythm patterns orally. On this page, the notation for the Charlie, Chipmunk, and lion rhythms is introduced. The teacher aids the student at pointing at each note while chanting the rhythm. Once this has been completed 3 times successfully, the student and teacher place a sticker in the box next to the notation. At the end of every unit, there are 2 short reading exercises, one for the left hand and one for the right hand. These are intended to equip students for the more extensive reading instruction coming up in Piano Safari Level 1. The pedagogical objectives of these reading exercises are to help students practice tracking from left to right, to learn and reinforce finger numbers, and to identify the notated animal rhythm patterns. As you see, there is a place for the animal stickers underneath the notes. The starting note of the reading examples always matches the letter of the unit. For example, in Unit 2, the focus is the letter C, so both reading examples start on C. To teach your reading exercises, we suggest the following steps. First, assist students in placing the correct animal stickers. In the right hand exercise, for example, Charlie Chipmunk and Leo Lion are placed in their corresponding boxes. So next, you would close the fall board and tap and say the animal names. So Charlie Chipmunk, roar, 2, 3, 4. And it would be helpful if the teacher would point above the notes in the reading example with one hand as they tap along with the student using the other hand. Next, you could close the fall board. Mine closes nice and slowly here. And play the finger numbers while you say the numbers. So for example, we have 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, using a nice forearm motion. And finally, find the starting note on the piano. Really, any C will do so that it's in proper alignment behind the student. And then you would play on the piano 3 times correctly. And it'd be fun to place a star or a check mark for each successful repetition. So moving to a different idea here, to introduce students to classical music and to promote the idea that music is written with different mood and style, we include an activity page with suggestions for listening. For example, on this lion listening page, the students are asked if they would like to listen to music that's gentle or joyful. 2 suggestions for listening are provided, in this case, the gentle Schumann Traumerei or the joyful Bach Italian Concerto. We have a listening list on our website, but parents can also just type the search terms in their favorite music streaming service. Students are encouraged to color as they listen or dance along to the music. And here is a beautiful colored lion completed by a 4-year-old student that Julie was teaching. As mentioned earlier in the webinar, songs provide opportunity for students to move to music, which is a natural way to experience a new meter. I Had a Rooster is a song in 3/4 that has fun animal sounds. It's suggested that student and teacher stand and sway with the large beat as they listen. So if you feel the need to get out of your chair and stretch, you can try this out as we listen to one verse. Julie, are you there?
My playmate, that little dog went quack, quack. That little cat went meow, meow. That little rooster went cock-a-doodle-doo, dee-doo-doo-dee-doo, dee-doo-doo-dee-doo.
The rest of the book proceeds with all of the components we just talked about. For the remaining portion of the webinar, we'll just share some of our favorite pieces, techniques, and activities, and then take some time for questions.
The focus of Unit 3 is the letter D. After completing the D activity pages, students listen to a story about Jem and George Giraffe reaching for leaves at the top of the trees. They complete the preparation steps listed on the page and then learn the tall giraffe technique on the piano, starting on letter D.
Tall giraffe. Good, nice. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to practice the part where we're rolling up like the giraffe, Jem giraffe is reaching for the leaves at the top of the tree. See that?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put Jem next to you. So come up like you're petting her. She's reaching. Very good. Can you do that yourself? That is her neck roll. Very good. Nice. Here, I'll put her here. You can do your other hand, okay? Nice. Giraffe neck roll. Good. Okay, perfect. So I go first. Oh, that was lovely.
Students learn the notation for the tall giraffe rhythm after they play the technique. They also have experienced this rhythm orally from the beginning of the book by doing the rhythm tapbacks and playing the follow the leader pieces. It is our goal to provide the strong rhythmic foundation before any notation is introduced. Hide and seek is a follow the leader piece that uses multiple fingers. Students need to watch and imitate carefully because there are quite a few position shifts. In the teacher guide, we suggest that the teacher hide a stuffed animal around the room. The student finds the animal as they listen to the audio track. They can then go to the piano and play the piece. I will again play the student part up an octave from the teacher part, which is the final goal.
My Three Pets is a rote piece from Unit 4, which is the letter E unit. It uses a familiar tune, Hot Cross Buns. It's written in 3 different keys and tempos to represent 3 different pets. The first pet, the dog, is played allegro with a forte sound.
Ready, play. That was awesome.
The second pet, the cat, is played with a gentle sound at a moderate tempo. And the third pet, the turtle, is written in minor and played at a very slow tempo. As you can see, this piece provides students with the opportunity to transpose a familiar melody. The keyboard diagrams provide the starting notes to help students with practice at home. So here we have a video of turtle. A Day at the Pond is a rote piece that provides an ensemble opportunity for 3 pianists. And I saw a question come across about using this for group classes. It's certainly adaptable, and here's even an ensemble you could use for 3 students. Pianist 1 plays the main theme called Silverfish Swimming. Pianist 2 plays a low bullfrog part, and pianist 3 plays the high part, which represents lily pads floating on the water. A simple version of the Zachariah Zebra technique exercise is introduced in Unit 5, which is the letter F unit. After listening to a story about Zachariah and completing some preparation exercises on the fall board, students learn to play this technique using only finger 2. The goal of the Zachariah Zebra technique is to maintain a strong finger joint, a loose arm, and to keep the piano hand in a bunny house shape while playing. For example, rather than letting the fingers fly up out of the bunny house or keeping the arm tight, we have a loose arm and a strong finger joint. Picnic Time is a rote piece from Unit 5 that's written in 3/4. Students have some experience with this meter from moving to the song we heard earlier, I Had a Rooster, when they were swaying to the big beat. But this is the first time that they're going to play a piece with this time signature. At this point in the book, the majority of students will have gained some more technical control. This piece may be used to refine non-legato articulation, combined with a wrist roll off of the long notes. You may also reinforce the rhythm by using the animals found in the picture. Porcupine butterfly, for example, using a wrist roll off of a long note. Here's some of the audio.
The Follow the Leader piece Leapfrog in Unit 6 is from the letter G unit. It is composed of all thirds so that a student can gain the feeling of this interval in their hand. The most fun part of the piece is switching positions on the bench halfway through. Students start on the left side of the teacher as they imitate the left hand and then run around the bench to the right hand side to complete the piece. So here is, the frog is going to pretend to be my student here, and I'll play a bit. Around the bench to the right side. Also from the G unit is the rote piece that uses the Zachariah Zebra technique. Notice how far students have progressed in their ability to learn longer patterns with a more complicated form. In this piece, students also decide where Zechariah wants to walk and fill in the place in the lyrics, such as Zechariah Zebra walks to the store, to the store.
I'm going to go ahead and play this for you with my disc clavier. So I already recorded the teacher part, and I'm going to be playing the student part.
Moonbeam Dreams is a beautiful and lyrical piece from Unit 7, the A unit. The alphabet review game at the end of the book reviews the animal rhythms as well as the white keys on the piano. To play, the teacher hides the alphabet leaves, which come as part of your Piano Safari Friends pack as a PDF download, hide them around the room, and the student finds a letter and brings it to the piano. So if they find like the leaf for letter E, they would play the Zechariah Zebra rhythm on 3 E's on the piano, because that's the first box where it says start here. So they'd play Zechariah Zebra in 3 places, and then they would go find another letter, found D, and play the next box, Charlie Chipmunk rhythm, on 3 D's, Charlie Chipmunk. So it's just a fun way to combine the white key names and the animal rhythm patterns.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is included in the book, so students are able to learn a familiar piece. We teach this using only finger 2, rolling off of each note with the tall giraffe wrist lift we showed you in a video earlier. So it would look like this. This piece also follows up on the concept of transposition that students learned earlier in the book with My 3 Pets when they played that Hot Cross Buns melody in 3 different keys. The keyboard diagram at the bottom of the second page of Twinkle indicates that it also be played in G major and A minor. You can find a download of the accompaniment and the transpose keys on the Piano Safari website under Teacher Resources. Finally, the book concludes with a rote piece called Goodbye Friends that has an engaging 12-bar blues accompaniment pattern. If you do own Safari Friends stuffed animals, turn on the audio track, and the code is included in the front of the book. The front page of the book is where you can find all of these audio tracks we've been playing. And turn that on and listen with a student as you return all of the animals to their home as if you're saying goodbye. This is my basket of animals. I have some really great ones like my hippo and kangaroo. So just suggest that you put them around the room and listen, and the student says goodbye. If they want to leave one animal out on their piano to listen when they do play the song, they could do that. So we'd like to play the audio recording of this so you can hear it. Thank you again for attending the webinar today. All of the material that we just showed you regarding Piano Safari Friends is on sale today through Monday just for the attendees of the webinar. So if you'd like to purchase anything additional to what you already did or purchase it for the first time, you can put in the code FRIENDS20%, and that'll give you 20% off just the Piano Safari Friends products from your order. So let's go ahead now. We have just about 10 minutes left of the webinar, and I see lots of questions in the Q&A. So I'm just going to go ahead and open that up now. And if you have anything additional you'd like to add to that, you can do that now. So let's just start at the top, Julie, and we can go through and quickly answer these. First from Juliet. I ordered the teacher's resource pack. Should I have received music alphabet cards and animal rhythm pattern cards as part of that pack, or do you have to download these? So if you get the resource pack, it's all of the products for you. So that would be the Piano Safari Friends book, the student book, the teacher guide, an actual printed version, the animal rhythm patterns, and the music alphabet cards are part of the resource pack.
So if you didn't get that, you should email info@pianosafari.com and we'll straighten out your order. And then another question about follow the leader pieces during the pandemic. That would be a little difficult, but if a parent was assisting, then you could play a phrase on your piano and have the parent help the student find the right starting note on their piano and go back and forth. But definitely they are easier to work with in person.
Yeah, and if you don't have two pianos, I might just suggest trying it in different octaves, potentially, or, you know, having the student, you could assist them in following the videos that we provide for those, if distancing or online lessons are what you're doing at the moment. And we'll just hope that someday our piano teaching lives will get back to normal in that regard, right? But yes, it would work with using two pianos if there's a view of the second piano, certainly. Let's see, we have another question here. Teacher note says to keep the rectangle markers on the black keys as the student plays. I didn't see them in the previous video. Yeah, that's just a suggestion to aid the student at the beginning when they're trying to find the black key groups if they need it. The student I was teaching, we had decorated the groups of black keys and she could find them really easily, so we took them off. It also depends on your material. So our pieces are a little bit heavier. They're more like puzzle pieces. And so they set on the keys a little better. If it was paper or cardstock, it may not work as well. So just it's just a suggestion. You can use that if you would like, but it's not necessary.
So Sigrid asked, what are the best animal props for Piano Safari Friends? We would suggest getting the ones that go with the 7 animal techniques. So the lion, the chipmunk, hippo, kangaroo, Zechariah zebra, and I'm forgetting one, a tall giraffe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Just the animals that match the animal rhythm patterns. I think you said the 7 animal techniques, but that would be for level 1. Yeah, the animal rhythm patterned animals are what you need. So there's just 6.
Right, and they do overlap with the technique, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the next question again about doing this online, perhaps having an overhead view will be important for the follow the leader pieces, especially and teaching rote pieces. It's often harder for very young children to understand what octave you're in from the side view and the way an adult can. So when I was teaching children, I would have both a side view and an overhead view that I could switch back and forth between as needed. And maybe there's some teachers out there who are very experienced and have a great setup. You can drop it in the chat if you have any other ideas for that.
Katie asked about developing technique when most parents and institutions are still encouraging physical distancing, or with students with sensory issues who may not like to be touched. You can do a lot to develop technique by just demonstrating and having them copy you. You don't need to touch them. And some students don't mind it and some do. And so you can just adjust accordingly and just have them watch what you do and then try it and then give analogies to help them feel how it feels. So that can work in person or online.
And also, I think stuffed animals help with that. So in the video that I had in the webinar here with my student, I actually had the giraffe on the piano, and then she would trace the giraffe's up neck like this. So she was feeling the giraffe, and I wasn't really manipulating her hand. So likewise, if you have like a lion working on arm weight, the student can feel that by using the lion paw like that. How does a typical 30-minute lesson plan look like with a student? Do they do one unit each lesson? It will take many weeks to get through a unit. So each unit that's centered around a letter, it has all of those different components we showed you. It has follow the leader pieces, rote pieces, it has a technique, it's got the reading examples, it has some activities and songs. So there's 8 units in the book, and we expect you to spend an extended amount of time in each unit as the student needs. In terms of the 30-minute lesson, just try to mix up different activities between on the bench and off the bench. We tried to design the book so that you'd have lots of suggestions for that, and it would be easy to do that to hold the students' attention.
And what we mean by a unit-based design is that within a unit, you can assign the pieces in any order you like, depending on what the student needs. So their assignments will mostly be the rote pieces, because those are the ones that are really designed for them to work on at home. And with young students, we try to just set up the expectation that they, and hopefully their parent with them, will just visit the piano every day for a little bit of time. So we're not looking for long assignments at this age group. So the follow the leaders are mostly in the lesson, but they can use those videos at home, which also might help with the distance teaching, to have them work with those follow the leader videos as well as the reminder videos at home in conjunction with your online teaching.
So just a logistical question next about the PDF of the piano decorating kit. The link on the website that's not working right now is for the actual kit that we're producing, and so it's not live because we don't have that ready to sell. But the PDF of the decorating kit comes with your book. So if you've bought the Piano Safari Friends book, all you need to do is open to the cover page, the first page of the book, and maybe Julie, you can hold that up. And there is a website there you type in, and then there's a password. So when you do that, you'll find the audio tracks, you'll find the PDF of the decorating kit that you can print out yourself, and you'll find the alphabet leaves that Julie showed you there.
Right. And also the PDF or the piano decorating kit PDF is in your sampler that we gave you today. And also you could email us and we could send that to you if for some reason you weren't able to find it in the chat. Mm-hmm. So group classes, Catherine, do you want to take that one? Since you're running a class soon?
Yes, yeah, I'm still in the process of designing my class, but I'm excited to do this with a group of 4 to 6-year-olds this coming year. So, you know, the way I design my group classes is to have a partial group class time and a partial private lesson time, because I have student assistants at Ohio University that are training in pedagogy, so I have assistants. But usually what I do in group class time is introduce any new concepts. We play games around the concepts, and then students do take turns, like maybe trying a technique, for instance, at the piano. And while they're doing that, to keep the other students engaged, I usually give them each a fuzzy. I showed you that earlier with the bunny house, where I think I threw it back. Yep. So this is just one fun idea for group classes, because we could go on this topic for a while. But if you give the students who are watching the playing student one of these and give them each a job to watch for or listen for. So for example, like if they're playing the tall giraffe, sorry, one student their fuzzy could watch for the wrist lift. Another student could watch to see if they have strong finger joints. So I try to always keep watching students engaged in my group classes. Julie and I might do another webinar on this. In fact, we're going to be doing a presentation in MTNA on group teaching. So that's just a little snippet. That's a great question and a big topic, but you can adapt it for group. So, oh, wow, time has gone by fast. Let's see. Oh. Julie, do you have another question to answer?
So May is asking, in the Charlie Chipmunk Blues improv, did you instruct the student to use the Charlie Chipmunk tall giraffe rhythm patterns No, I did not. So with the improvisations, we try to let the student play in as free manner as possible. So anything goes, and we're just very encouraging. So she actually, because we'd been practicing those rhythm patterns and playing those rhythm patterns in the rope pieces and follow the leader pieces and doing clapbacks and playbacks on the drum, she had those rhythms ingrained. And so she spontaneously just used those rhythms. And this is about the third time we'd try this piece. The first time she didn't quite stay on the rhythm all the way, but I just kept my accompaniment steady. And that's how you teach students to just get that steady rhythm, by just keeping the accompaniment steady no matter what they do. And then eventually they'll settle into the rhythm. Great question.
Yes. And I see just a couple questions here about some of our international versions. So first of all, will it be translated into Spanish? Maybe so. Our composer, Juan Cabeza, who composes for Piano Safari, he translated level 1 for us into Spanish, which was really exciting. So we can definitely see if that's a project he'd be interested in the future. And the second question was about like a UK spelling and UK rhythm terms, for example, like crotchet or quaver instead of quarter note. Yes, we have already made that version, so that's the good news. All of the spellings are changed and all of the rhythm terms are changed. So if you purchase this book from our UK supplier, that is the version you'll get. We call that the international version. If you order from the US, you will get the US version.
I see a couple more questions about structuring lesson time and what's in the teacher guide. And yes, the teacher guide does provide a sample lesson plan. And then it has step-by-step teaching instructions for each piece or activity in the book. So basically with young students, you want to change the activity every 2 to 5 minutes. So you can follow the leader piece and then do an improv and then do some rhythm tap backs away from the drum and then learn part of a rope piece. Different activities to keep them going. But I would not sit with a 4-year-old for 15 minutes and do one piece. They're not going to pay attention that long.
Mm-hmm. Here's a really good question about the difference between audio tracks versus the MIDI and MP3 tracks. So we have the audio tracks are just for students to listen to, and those come with the book. So students can download those, teachers can download those. Anyone who owns the Piano Safari Friend book can get those. And what they are the student part and the teacher part together. So you're hearing a finished performance of the piece, so you can hear it musically, so it's in the student's ears. Those are the audio tracks that come with the book. Now, if you purchase the separate product, the MP3 or MIDI accompaniment tracks, those are just the teacher accompaniment part with a count in. So you'll hear like 2 measures of a percussion instrument, and then the teacher part will start. So that is for the student to play along with the accompaniment at home if the teacher isn't there. We do have, to aid the student in that, we have kind of a quiet vibraphone part above the piano for the student so they can follow it more easily. But those are literally like play along tracks, and those are a separate item to purchase. But the audio tracks that we showed you in the workshop today are included with your book.
Maybe one more question here. There's one about preparing students to learn the rope pieces. Do you have them copy and imitate one phrase at a time, or do the whole rope piece in one sitting? The video you saw of Playground Fun, she literally learned the patterns for that in 2 minutes. I just did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then she copied that. The next one, up a step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then she would copy that. And then she was just able to remember how to put all the patterns together. And I pointed above the key to help her out, just to keep her on the right key. So really it's amazing how 4 and 5-year-olds, they have little sponges for brains, and they can learn so many patterns and put them together really easily. I was shocked at how quickly she picked it up.
Okay, I do think this is an important question. It's about technique. The little girl who was worked with in terms of the rabbit house or the bunny house, her wrists were high. Do you have any suggestions for helping students to have the vertical position of the wrist more aligned with the hand? Yes, when you're working with the little bunny, what I tend to do with my students to make sure the wrist is level is, let's see if I can get straight at my own piano here. So as the bunny comes down the arm, if the wrist is too high, I say the bunny can't climb the hill, it's too high. If the wrist is too low, same thing. The wrist has to be nice and level for the bunny to go across. So that's just an additional detail to continue working with your students on. I believe that was one of her first times trying the bunny house. So Julie, you would
Yeah.
probably continue to refine that.
Yeah, I did manipulate her wrist a little bit because it was sticking up, but nothing's going to be perfect the first time, and you just keep working with it over and over again.
Mhm. Yes. All right. So just kind of reading through the rest of the questions. You are all such an engaging audience here. They're great questions. Here's the last one. This is perfect to kind of conclude today. After finishing the Friends book, would you go straight into the beginning of Piano Safari Book 1? And yes, the answer is that is exactly why we designed this book. We did find a lot of teachers wanted to start students in level 1 when they were younger, ages 4 and 5. But level 1, in terms of the reading progression, moves maybe a little bit fast for most students in that age category. So we wanted to give more musical experience and a little bit less reading in Piano Safari Friends, just to prepare them at these younger ages so they can get a really good flying start when they reach level 1. So you won't find much overlap of material. It's just building on the foundation that we laid in Piano Safari Friends when they do go into level 1. Hey, thank you so much for your kind comments in the chat. We're just really thrilled that you're all excited to use this. And if you're not a member of Teaching Piano Safari, we hope you would join. That's our Facebook group. I'll post the replay there and also drop the sampler there, since I know some of you may have had trouble accessing that. And then our email address is also over here on the slide if you would like to write directly.
Right. So if we didn't answer your question,
Sorry.
you didn't have time, please email us and we will answer your questions. Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.